Joe Ingles, an Australian NBA player, didn't even make it to halfway in Thursday's game before being dismissed for the third time this season. This was obviously a huge surprise for NBA fans and Joe himself. Stay tuned to find out all the juicy insider details. Additionally, we will also touch on other recent surprising NBA news, including why the Lakers need to make a change and soon, along with more info surrounding Kevin Durant and his recent injury that will see him out for at least 4 to 6 weeks. If you're an NBA lover, then you definitely want to stick around till the end to find out all the insider information. Joe Ingles suddenly ejected from Jazz vs Cavaliers game. Here's why. If you haven't already heard the recent news, Joe Ingles was suddenly kicked out of the recent game between the Utah Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Joe Ingles, an Australian NBA player, didn't even make it to halfway in Thursday's game before being dismissed for the third time this season. What was supposed to be a triumphant homecoming from the league's health and safety regulations rapidly turned into a disaster for Ingles, who had already committed 2 technical fouls by halftime of the Utah Jazz's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. He was first called for a technical foul in the first quarter for losing his cool in the face of Cavs big man Jarrett Allen. When his Jazz teammate Bojan Bogdanović was denied what he perceived to be a foul in the second, Ingles erupted into a wrath, this time directed at the game officials. The referees retaliated by ejecting the Australian, who has 7 technical fouls this season, 1 fewer than league leaders Joel Embiid, Russell Westbrook, and Carmelo Anthony, who has 9. In his analysis, Jazz great Thurl Bailey observed, "It's a big loss for the Jazz. You have to accept that these officials will make mistakes." He continued, stating, "Joe isn't on board, and neither are the officials." This was a huge surprise for everyone, including Joe himself. Ingles' mistake added to the burden on the Jazz, whose roster had already been weakened by a COVID-19 outbreak earlier this year. After Ingles was removed from the game, the Jazz were down to 8 players for the rest of the game. "It's just a shame Joe didn't think things through in that position," Jazz broadcast commentator Holly Rowe said. It wasn't the first time referees have grown bored of Ingles' antics this season. He was ejected from the Jazz game against the Indiana Pacers in November for shoving a referee during a brawl. In October, he was ejected from the Sacramento Kings game after committing a flagrant foul on Kings rookie Davion Mitchell. It's clear that he has some things he needs to change if he wants to remain playing with his current team. But regardless of his mistakes and errors, he's a good player. If you have never heard of Ingles, let us give you a little rundown. Joseph Haworth Ingles is an Australian professional basketball player who currently plays for the NBA's Utah Jazz. He's also a member of Australia's national team. He primarily fills the roles of small forward and shooting guard. He holds the record for most three-pointers made by a Utah Jazz player. Ingles was also a member of Australia's bronze medal-winning basketball team in the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, clearly showing that Ingles is a talented basketball player who definitely deserves his spot with the Utah Jazz. It's currently unclear what Utah will do with Ingles, but we assume he will remain on the team until there's another big error on his part. But who knows? Anything can happen in the NBA. Lakers urged to make trade. Giddey, not good enough. 2022 has not started out well for the Lakers, who have been urged to make a trade already. While Josh Giddey faced up against a fellow Rookie of the Year contender, the Lakers season hit a new low. The Los Angeles Lakers lost 133-96 to the Denver Nuggets on Sunday, their worst loss of the season. At Ball Arena, the Nuggets led from start to finish and won every quarter, stretching their lead to 42 points at one point in the fourth. In an attempt to stop Nikola Jokic, the Lakers started Dwight Howard at center instead of LeBron James, but the Serbian star came up huge with a triple-double, scoring 17 points, 12 rebounds, and 13 assists. Bones Highland had a career-high 27 points and 10 rebounds, while Jeff Green had 26 points and 10 rebounds. LeBron led the Lakers with 25 points on a poor 9 of 23 shooting performance, while Russell Westbrook added 19 points. However, the game was a rough one for the players in yellow and purple, with tensions erupting between Westbrook and Aaron Gordon during the third quarter when the Lakers guards' frustrations got the best of them. Meanwhile, the Lakers have lost 3 straight games but are still in 8th place in the Western Conference heading into Tuesday's game against Utah. On social media, the basketball world reacted to the result by asking the Lakers to make a move to rearrange the roster in light of the team's flaws. One user wrote to Twitter, "The Lakers need to make a change. This is embarrassing to watch," which seems to be an opinion felt by so many Lakers and NBA fans. Another wrote, "LeBron's Lakers just suffered their worst loss of the season, losing by 37 at Denver. What's hard to believe is the Lakers finished number 1 in defensive efficiency last year. They were 17th before this. LeBron ranks below 200 in defensive win shares. He's now all offense, no D." Other users were much more blunt, with a third tweeting, "Trade everybody," paired with a trash can emoji, while a second tweeted, "Everyone on the Lakers has gotta go." As you could see, not a great start to the year for the Lakers, and there will surely be plenty of adjustments and trades in the near future. It'll definitely be interesting to see who goes and who stays, or if they will simply rearrange the current roster. Who really knows at this point? Watch this space to find out more news as it comes out. How long will Kevin Durant be out with his injury? Here's everything you need to know. Unfortunately, right now, the Nets will be without their superstar player, Kevin Durant. Yes, you heard heard that correctly. The organization reported on Sunday that an MRI on Durant's left knee revealed a damaged medial collateral ligament, or MCL. When Bruce Bowen fell back onto his left knee trying to defend a fast break situation in the second quarter of a game against the Pelicans, Durant was injured. Shortly later, the Nets confirmed that he would not return to the game. This is a huge blow for the Nets, as Durant is a star and legendary player that arguably carries the team most games. This season, Durant has been playing at an MVP level for Brooklyn, who have had to overcome the initial loss of point guard Kyrie Irving and then his part-time availability this season. Durant's averaging 29.7 points, 7.5 rebounds, and 5.9 assists through 35 games. The Nets enter the matchup with the Pelicans in third place in the Eastern Conference, but they have gone 4-6 in their last 10 games. Brooklyn has only had their big three of Durant, Harden, and Irving together for 16 games since their formation, but they are 13-3 in those games. What is Durant's next move? Here's all we know about his injuries thus far, and as well as the most recent information on how long he might be sidelined. Durant's left knee is damaged due to a sprained MCL. Durant had a grade 2 MCL sprain in his left knee in 2017 after colliding with Zaza Pachulia, forcing him to miss 19 games. According to ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski, there's optimism that Durant's rehab and recovery timeframe will be 4 to 6 weeks. However, given that he previously hurt this area a few years ago, it may take longer to heal this time. The Nets will play 20 games in the next 5 weeks, 13 of which will be on the road. Kyrie Irving will be available in all but one of them. That would be the game at the Knicks. It'll be interesting to see how the Nets perform without Durant and whether or not they can still pull it off without him. Only time will tell. And there you have it. Everything you need to know about Joe Ingles from the Utah Jazz and why he was recently kicked out of the game against the Cavaliers. Additionally, we also touched on why the Lakers need to make a change to their roster, and fast as things are not looking good for one legendary team. Along with this, we also delved into Kevin Durant and everything you need to know about his recent injury that could see him out for at least 4 to 6 weeks, if not longer. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. What did you think of Ingles getting ejected from the game? Do you think it was fair? Do you think the Lakers will get rid of Giddey or simply reshuffle their roster? And do you think Kevin Durant will really be able to make a full recovery in just 4 to 6 weeks? Let us know! And if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss any of our new and upcoming content. Thanks for watching!